So PAX was pretty great, but not everything can be good, right? And that was Nintendo this time.
Yep, Nintendo kind of dropped the ball, the proverbial ball. There was no balls there.
So PAX West, overall, we had a fantastic time. Met up with Arlo and Treesicle, hung out here, hung out a ton at PAX, talked loads of analytics, had a panel.
Super fun guys, got to like meet a lot of fans. Everybody was super great.
Yeah, we did a fan meetup. Yeah, it was amazing. We talked to loads of game developers of both games that indie games we've been following and know are going to be great, and they were great. And also just discovered new indie games we had never heard of, and they're going to be amazing. Not all of them are good, of course, but to stay mostly positive, we're not even going to bother talking about those.
No.
Except for the negativity surrounding Nintendo's booth. But let's save that. Let's save that, since that's what's going to be in the thumbnail and everything.
Everybody loves negativity, so we're gonna
save it for the end.
We're
so you
gonna
actually
keep
watch.
you in here,
or you can just you have total control over your own destiny. So
probably like right here is where we're gonna talk about it.
So games. What were the games that stood out to you the most?
Well, I've been actually following this game. It's an indie game. It was Risk of Rain 2. It's the second sequel for Risk of Rain. Same title. It's great. It's essentially the same game, but they did a really drastic change, and they moved to 3-dimensional. Like, it was a 2D flat platformer game, and now they went to a over-the-shoulder third-person shooter. Very huge jump in development, and it was really fun meeting the developers and like learning the complete differences between developing a 2-dimensional game versus a 3-dimensional game.
I think that's a really good learning experience because if I remember our conversation earlier, they like just finished game school. Like they made their first game while they were in it.
Like they're super young. Like they started when they were like in middle school, but like the first game they were still a really young developer. I was talking to one of them. I think it was Paul. He had just started learning how to do water, and he was like super excited to put water into the game. So we'll see how that pans out. But definitely, like, if you haven't seen it or if you're a fan of the first one, don't worry, it's good. Like, I had tons of fun. Like,
this is his favorite game.
It was definitely. Yeah, no, it's true. It's true.
But I remember while I was waiting for you playing it, like, there's loads of people. What? Risk of Rain 2? Oh, it's 3D.
Everybody I've talked to is like, oh, it's 3D. It lost the magic. But like, I really think they worked hard on the scale of things. Like the magma worms. Like, if you know the first one, the magma worm is a very fun boss to fight. But in this one, it just feels much more rewarding to get that final hit on him. You know, like he's much larger than you'd think.
Another one was Pray for the Gods. He actually kickstarted it.
Yeah, I kickstarted that, but he was like, no, don't kickstart. Kickstarter's bad.
It was like right after Mighty Number 9.
That's true, but I have a lot of faith in game developers. Definitely another one that I'm super glad I kicked. I have actually, like, between you and me and everybody watching, I've never played Shadow of the Colossus or Ico, but I've always really thought they were cool.
I've beaten it at least 6 times.
Yeah, this guy can love it. This guy loves it. But I'm like, oh, Pray for the Gods. It's kind of like a Shadow of the Colossus spiritual inspired by thing. So I immediately like kickstarted it, and it's. Would you say it's?
I really enjoyed it.
Yeah.
So like he tried it for a while, kept dying repeatedly.
Yeah, I couldn't beat it. But
remember, he never played Shadow of the Colossus. I picked it up and just beat the boss immediately.
Just because, like, you have so much practice.
It's literally indie Shadow of the Colossus. Like, it's a spiritual successor.
Oh yeah, and I love looking at the dev updates because they really like show you how the game's made. They're like, hey, look at this cool thing. We're adding grappling hooks, and you know, there's a whole thing. And I think it wasn't in the PAX demo, but I believe if I remember right, they're gonna add like a paraglider. Would like kind of like the Legend of Zelda.
That's way cool.
Yeah, it's really cool.
The grappling hook was way neat too.
Yeah,
you know, it's Shadow of the Colossus, but there's a grappling hook.
Yeah, and a glider like in
which
Breath
means
of the Wild.
you can make the bosses even bigger.
Yeah, like some of the bosses, some of them fly. I remember them talking.
There are a few flying.
Some of them are
Shadow,
like large flying ones, but like you can get off and like, you know, come back later. We actually went to a Nintendo press conference.
That was way cool.
Super awesome.
Got to see Reggie with our own eyes.
Oh my gosh, he was amazing. Like I don't like fanboy over anybody, but like when we saw him, I was like, that's Reggie. Oh my gosh.
He walks with such confidence.
He does.
The memes are real.
No, it's true. But
anyway, the event was way cool. It was just 50 or so game journalists and YouTubers and streamers and
It was
such.
a small event, yeah.
Coming into the Nintendo headquarters and just, hey, we have a whole bunch of indie games that are coming to the Switch. Here you go. Have a couple hours with them.
Yeah. We got to play quite a bit of them, actually. Like, you know.
Your favorite was Zarvat?
Zarvat. It's
Zarvat.
a V. It feels like you want to say B. It's made, I think it's made by only one guy. He's a really cool dude, and I really like the aesthetic of it. What did you say it looked like? It looked like,
It was like the hacking mode in Nier Automata.
yeah, mixed with Pikmin's
Mixed
aesthetic.
with Pikmin.
Pikmin's aesthetic, like the nice depth of field, like tiny.
Arlo loved it.
Oh yes, Arlo really loved it. He played it.
Arlo's probably going to do a video on
He
it.
probably is. It's got a single player mode, which is very, like, that's why Arlo was like super down for it. He's like, oh man, single player. It also has versus mode. Looks like a lot of time went into it, so it's gonna be a fun game.
And then there was Untitled Goose Game.
Untitled Goose
which
Game.
was surprisingly like massive. Like it was not only probably one of the most popular games at the Nintendo event, but even at PAX, like most indie booths, you know, a couple of them will have a small crowd, and then there's Untitled Goose Game, which got so big they actually took over the Firewatch booth right next to it because it's the same publisher. So they decided, hey, let's just take all the Firewatch ones and just make it Untitled Goose Game also, so we can actually get through all these people.
Yeah. Well, I mean, it kind of makes sense. Firewatch has been out for a while.
Yeah.
So, like, hey, it's doing a good thing. Like, it has a dedicated honk button. That's my favorite part. Honk. Oh.
It's just a game. You're just a goose, and you have to solve the puzzle, but the puzzle is just like figuring out the best way to annoy the guy.
Oh, get him wet. It's like, whoa, am I gonna like get the sprinkler on him, or what am I gonna do?
Steal his hat. It's like, oh, but how do you get up to his hat? You know, you have to have him bend over, and then you honk at him to startle him, and then the hat falls off. Then you have to grab the hat and run away with it. You know?
I mean, there's other ways too. There's tons of ways to solve the puzzle too. That's the best part.
Oh yeah.
We watched a couple of people who were playing it before us, and it was like, I hadn't even thought about doing that. Like, that's awesome.
It was way cool.
Yep.
Ashen is super cool if you are into Souls-like games. I think that was probably one of my favorite games there.
It was really fun. Like, I enjoyed myself.
It's a bit faster than Souls games, and it's not quite as hard, but like it's still definitely a Souls-like.
Yep.
But it's open world and low poly-ish.
It's like mid poly, but it's still got that charm of low poly. And the animation speeds, like everything was crisp, kind of, you know? Like,
oh yeah.
Everything was fast. Nothing was like.
It felt like Melee of Dark Souls, but in a good way.
Yeah, in a good way. Like, it's the good Melee. Another Souls-like, but it definitely is not like just another Souls-like. Was Sinner. What was it?
Sinner Retribution?
Sacrifice. I know Sinner something Sacrifice. I'm super bad. We'll have the name here. Like a Souls-like, you know, same generic action RPG, but the main cool thing is like it's a boss rush, but every time you fight a boss, like there's 7 bosses or 8 bosses, and every time you fight a boss you have to sacrifice something, hence the name Sacrifice. Like sacrifice a weapon, sacrifice part of your stamina, and you don't get it back.
A chunk of your max health.
A chunk of your max, but you don't get it back, so like it progressively gets harder and harder. So
because you as a character are getting worse and worse.
Yeah.
I don't remember if you said like you have the option of the first 7.
I think you.
I remember I think it was kind of like Mega Man. Like here's 7 bosses, beat them in any order you want, but each time you beat one, the next ones get harder just because you're weaker.
Yeah. So the strategy.
And then after you beat all of them, you unlock the last one.
Yep. The strategy comes into who do you fight first, like
in what order.
The big
and then
crazy
it all depends on what.
Yeah.
How your play style is.
Because like maybe you like.
Maybe you're into the archery, so you wouldn't want to sacrifice your bow super early.
Yeah. Or you hate two-handed weapons. You like your shield, so you don't want to sacrifice your big shield. It's cool. It's fun stuff.
Yeah.
Other indies that were super important.
Future 88 or Black Future 88.
Black Future 88, very
extremely fast-paced.
Very
like,
fast.
Ooh.
Oh wow, yeah. Like
exactly his aesthetic
it is
too.
It's like cyberpunk, but it's edgier cyberpunk. Like if that's even possible. But I really like the whole time mechanic. You only have so long to beat the.
It's a roguelike.
It's a roguelike.
You die and you respawn, but you can put points into things, so it gets easier.
All the fun stuff.
But like you only have so long to live before your heart explodes.
Yeah.
And there's things you can do to add time.
Yeah,
but then there's other things you can do to take away time, but give you stats.
But
like double your speed, but you lose 2 minutes.
Yeah. Which is quite a bit of time. Like, definitely one of those games where it's gonna take a while to actually beat it. Other honorable mentions like
Outer Wilds was really fun if you're into walking walking simulator-esque games. It's a little bit more than that. It's like a full solar system that's like not procedurally generated. It's all designed.
Speaking of way cool space games, Starlink Alliance.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, that was super.
They got me to pre-order it.
Yeah,
that was mainly just because I wanted the Star Fox thing.
I mean, it's cool. The toys, like at first you're like, oh, it's another Toys to Life game. It's gonna be shoot the weak point for massive damage. And I can understand where if you're a seasoned Star Fox fan, you're getting kind of bored of it. But I really feel like this is what
Star Fox Zero should have been.
Zero should have been. Like it's very.
Like, not necessarily the toy part, but like the gameplay is what Star Fox Zero should have been. This game is made for Star Fox fans, unlike Star Fox Zero.
Which is kind of sad.
Yeah.
And I kind of feel like the Star Fox characters fit very well into the
because
universe.
like they have the characters pop up and they're like bobo-de bobo and everything. Like it's literally Star Fox but made by Ubisoft.
Yeah,
and that's why Star Fox fits in it perfectly. And like at first the ship he was flying was like the big tank one and it was going really slow and I was thinking if this is the speed of the game it's going to be bad. But then like he swapped the ship out to the fast one and it's like, oh my word, that was too fast.
You can
you have to like because you can swap parts to like balance out the stats however you like. So
because they got the big heavy ships, they got the fast ones, they got the ones that go really fast in a single straight line but are bad at turning, stuff like that. Super interesting. Gotta keep an eye on that one
for sure.
I think we're getting out of indies and we're into like
we're back
bigger
into
budget
AAA things. Because most of the other indies that I really liked there were there last year also. Children of Morta's way good. Tunic is amazing.
Moonlighter was there again.
Oh yeah, that's one we recommend.
There's a lot of games coming to Switch that I think really deserve it. Like Hyper Light Drifter.
That game was my favorite game like the year it came out. I got this at PAX. It's great. It's the Hyper Light Drifter, but in a figurine. I love it.
Yeah, Bastion, Transistor, they're all coming to Switch. Good games that you're like, oh man, if you haven't played them, like now is the time. You just hop on your Switch.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, another positive.
Oh,
Smash Bros.
Oh yeah.
We got to play a couple rounds of Smash Bros.
Oh my goodness.
To summarize like all of my thoughts into like a 30-second, 1-minute chunk. The big thing that a lot of people were worried about was the whole momentum thing. Like it seems like you get launched away real fast and then slow down, and that's like weird and jarring. And it is a bit jarring at first, but like I got used to it by the end of the first round. For some people, it'll definitely take longer.
Yeah. But it's not super different than Smash 4.
It looks much more different than it feels.
Yes.
If that makes sense. One thing of note though, now you can charge smashes like twice as long.
It felt like it was just like, all right, I'm holding it. Am I gonna let go? Like, it did feel much longer.
Yeah.
That could just be because the gameplay feels faster. Like
overall, every character is a bit faster. Some characters are way faster.
Oh yeah.
The whole gameplay is faster.
Yeah. Some moves, like some tried and true moves, are totally different. Like Mario's cape felt very different than what I was used to.
It was actually slower.
It was quite a bit slower. And
it's harder to use, but in a good way because like in competitive levels or like
just casual.
It's a really easy move to like just troll people,
Yeah. So now it's pretty good.
Yeah. Mario Party, I was impressed with.
Actually, like
I was thoroughly impressed with.
They did it right. Like it's actually fun. Like I kind of stopped playing after 4 or 5. And then I played the Wii one with motion controls. I'm like, wow, this is good.
And then you put it down, you never want to touch it again.
I feel like the Switch really excels because the controllers are small. Then they're literally mini games. Like they're miniature games.
And like the HD rumble helped a ton.
Oh, it did,
like there's that steak making game, and like you have to feel the rumble to know like when the steak is done, and that's way cool. And the motion controls are 1-to-1 now.
Yes.
Instead of the Wii where it's just like and that's every single game.
Super fun.
Super.
I actually got to play the Mario Party with the Tricycle guys. They're super fun to play Mario Party with. We gotta do that.
And since we're on the topic of the Nintendo booth, one more good thing.
Yep, very good thing actually.
Travis Strikes Back was fantastic.
Oh my gosh, it was super fun.
We got to meet with Suda51, who he's not like a super big game developer.
I feel like he was super big.
But he's bigger than any game developer we've ever
That's
had.
true. Like, and he was so cool.
He was super cool, and he's important enough to have a translator with him because like he doesn't know English that well.
Yeah, but he's super cool. Like,
but he's made so many games I'm a huge fan of, like Shadows of the Damned, No More Heroes, Lollipop Chainsaw, Killer is Dead, Killer 7.
Yeah.
Just loads of really great action games.
Always good fun to play his games. And we got to meet him, and we also got to play the game.
Play Travis Strikes Back, and it's good.
It's good. Like
at least what we played of it.
We played
in co-op. Like I feel like it's a game that you couldn't really get super into single player.
I feel like you could. It just takes the right kind of person.
Yeah, it's not a game for everyone.
That's true, but I feel like in co-op it really adds to the fun.
Like a game can go from like a 7 to a 9.
Oh yeah,
just by having co-op and playing with the right person. You know?
Yeah. Oh yeah. Especially with the co-op abilities. There's a lot of abilities that are different depending on who you are. If you're Travis or if you're, I forget his name, but the second player.
I don't remember either.
Oh man, I think it's like it's Bad Guy. Like his name is Bad Dude or something.
Oh yeah, because I think he was the bad guy in one of them.
I don't remember. It's been a while.
Yeah.
Super fun game though. Definitely,
super fun.
Definitely gonna get that one.
But onto the negative side, Nintendo really needs to step up their game with PAX.
Gosh. Yes, they do.
So here's the situation, the lowdown. So the Nintendo booth, here it is in the corner. They have 2 lines. One line is for Smash Bros. And Mario Party.
Yep.
Cool, that's fine because like think about that. You have 8 stations for Smash Bros, 4 stations for Mario Party.
There's 8 stations for Mario Party. Also.
I know it was less than Smash.
No, it was about the same.
Oh.
It's just Smash Bros together. Anyway,
so they have like all these stations, and each station gets through 4 people at a time.
In like 6 to 10 minutes.
Right.
Right? So that's, so
so they get through their line really, really quick. And then there's one other line for literally every other game.
Yep.
Which includes all of their indie
all
games.
The indies.
And Pokemon Let's Go, Pikachu and Eevee.
Yep.
And that's where the first issue arises. So the first thing we did after Smash was, all right, now let's get into the line for Pokemon. Oh, the line's capped. No one's allowed to wait outside the line to wait for the line to open up again.
And this is not Nintendo's fault. This is a safety issue. Okay, the exhibitor, like the Seattle Convention Hall, was like, hey, we have to have limits on these lines, otherwise it'll just wrap around the entire place, block exits. It's a danger. So I understand completely.
Yeah. Capped lines are important.
Capped lines are important, and also there's only so many people allowed in the booth at a time.
It was like 45 or something.
It's near there because of medical reasons. You got to have room for medical personnel to get in, emergency personnel. The whole 9 yards. Everything's totally understandable. It just came down to the demos, really.
Right.
Yeah.
So people are getting to the front of the line. Like, oh, which games do you want to play? Pokemon. Oh, all right, hang on. All right, go to the next person. What games do you want to play? Pokemon. Oh, all right, next person. What games do you want to play? Pokemon. But I could play like some indies too. All right, you get in. So when we did finally get in, like a day and a half later, because we checked back every single hour because we needed to play Pokemon.
It's almost
it's a Pokemon channel or something. And every single hour the line would still be capped, barely moved. And sometimes it would open up, but for less than a minute because,
it fills up.
It fills up immediately.
I mean, it's Nintendo. I wanted to play it. Like
Pokemon's literally the biggest media franchise in the world.
Yeah.
Obviously, there's going to be demand for it. Pokemon should probably have had its own line.
It should, and maybe more.
And maybe more Pokemon stations because it's like the Smash demo and the Mario Party. It's like 4 people to each one. Pokemon, it's 1 person to each one.
Which I can understand because
there's still only 8.
There's still eight stations, 4 of each.
So right then and there, you're already you have a huge slowdown because of that. On top of that, instead of like a 10-minute demo, it's a 15-minute demo that can go to 30.
Like they really weren't taking people off if they were messing around. I did get to see some cool stuff about Pokemon. We'll talk about that afterwards.
Yeah. So they just need another line.
Or more stations.
Or more stations, because when we were inside the indie section for our appointment with Travis, which was the only reason we were even able to get there.
Yeah, some of them were empty. Like the Diablo 3.
Loads of the indie stations were just empty because no one cared. Diablo 3, that game's been out for years.
Like people did play it, but I think they played it to get the pin, like because you would get a commemorative pin if you played it. Which is cool.
But the whole time we were there,
it was really kind of.
And Diablo 3 had like 2 or 3 stations.
It had 4 switches on each station. It was a really big station. I was like, wow, that was what Pokemon should have done,
And like Hyperlight Drifter has been out for a couple of years. Bastion and Transistor have been out for years.
I don't know if they had a booth.
I know they were at the Nintendo event.
I know they were
not sure about the booth,
but they did have a few small games, and you're like, they probably could have gotten away with that.
And they had the Goose Game in the Nintendo thing. Goose Game has its own booth somewhere else. They had Starlink in the Nintendo thing. Starlink has a huge booth somewhere else.
I do have to give them that one. Let you play with the
Star Fox thing.
amiibo.
So you do get a
not
little
amiibo.
exclusive thing.
Yeah, but so I can understand because that only had like 1 or 2, so that's totally fine.
So like one thing you could have done to fix the line was replaced some of those indie games that have already been out for years with more Pokemon stations, or
Oh, this is a novel idea.
get a bigger space. Sony's booth was 4 to 5 times larger than
easy,
Nintendo's.
easy.
Microsoft's booth 4 to 5 times larger than Nintendo's.
Yeah.
Facebook's booth 4 times the size of Nintendo's. Discord's 4 times the size of Nintendo's.
I think Discord was only 2 times, but still, it was way
Maple
bigger.
Story 2's booth was bigger than Nintendo's.
I feel like it was the same size, but
Or roughly the same
felt,
size.
It felt like the line went quicker.
Single MMO,
It's a big MMO though, but still,
massive AAA company with the most dedicated fan base in gaming there is.
like, what are you doing, Nintendo? Do you just hate us? Maybe they hate us.
Maybe they hate us.
They hate us.
Like it's just a bad business move. Also, I'm not sure because we didn't talk to any of the other like expo people that were like the PR guys.
Yeah.
Most of them at Nintendo were just warehouse workers that volunteered.
That's true.
Like, hey, do you want a bonus to like
I mean, hey, that's
do
cool.
some PR?
That's cool for
it's
them.
cool that they can do that because like otherwise they just have a boring job.
Yeah.
But like.
I mean, I think a few of them probably were
the
like
same.
like the coordinators were probably a bit higher.
Oh yeah, definitely.
Yeah, but yeah, a lot
I'm
of
not sure
the,
if that's a regular thing or not, but I don't. That was part of why it was so confusing because a lot of them like you can hear the whispers like, well, I don't know what we're supposed to do.
I got.
Do we kick that person off? They've been playing Pokemon for half an hour.
Yeah. There's a lot of just misinformation going on, which is fine. It's just this is like what it's like something annual PAX West, and they've been there for a long time. They should have kind of it's not their first rodeo.
Yeah.
It's not even their second.
Like at the very least, double the size of your venue.
Yeah. Or at least get a Square Enix. Their Kingdom Hearts booth had a much better system.
Oh yeah.
Their line filled up instantly every day because it's
Kingdom Hearts 3.
Which looks really fun.
Oh yeah.
It looks good. But they had a ticket system where you didn't have to your ticket would get you into the line because the line would cap out and they'd be like, all right, we're handing out tickets and we only have so many tickets for the entire day. So you go get tickets. They ran out about halfway through the day.
Oh, yeah.
And then you would just come back and there was a standby line, like a secondary line. It's like, hey, this person didn't show up for their ticket. You can come in. That's a super good, way better than a guy sitting at the end saying it'll eventually be open.
Oh yeah,
Come
he
back
has a sign. This line is capped. It will be uncapped at eventually. Or tomorrow.
I did see one which was funny. It was for the Smash line because it was one of the busier times, and it said, "This line will be uncapped when I'm not here." And I'm like, "That's a dangerous thing to say, Mister. These are the Smash community. Just say we'll take you out back." Oh my goodness. But overall, I had a great experience.
Oh yeah, PAX was great.
Super great.
Every pro has a con.
Oh yeah.
Stinging Fortnite.
Yeah.
Rented out the entire bottom floor to make a mini golf course.
It was all AstroTurf like this.
They trucked in huge grass AstroTurf to cover the entire first floor.
It was super comfy to stand on, and I'm like, I'm glad that people who are working these booths have something comfortable to sit on. A lot of them were just standing on carpet, and it was like I feel bad for their feet.
Concrete.
Yeah, or concrete.
Oh, but one other thing, even the Tomb Raider booth was significantly larger than the Pokemon booth.
Yeah,
they were getting through people way quicker.
Again, I feel like it's just they didn't put
Nintendo doesn't realize how dedicated their fan base is.
I guess that's
even
true.
At conventions.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, it's just a Pokemon spin-off game. No one wants to play that.
I mean, look at the sales.
Yeah.
People still want to touch it. I
say spin-off loosely. Don't get angry in the comments.
Oh yeah. Actually, it's Kanto.
They said on Twitter that it's an official main game, not a spin-off. They said that.
It's not main. Anyways, before we get in trouble with all the people typing immediately, don't you start. Keep your eyes up here.
So that's PAX.
Yep.
This is our video on PAX.
That's our PAX video.
Contract filled.
We have done it. Now we can go next year or the year after that. Who knows? But we can go again.
And so super thanks for watching this video. Super thanks to everyone who joined our panel at PAX.
Everybody was amazing.
I was surprised at the turnout. I was thinking about half the amount of people would show up that did.
Yep.
It was great. It was a lot of fun. Thanks for all the questions at the panel. Yeah. And again, if you ever have any questions about like running YouTube channels and stuff, just tweet them at me at Lockstin. I can't promise I'll get to all of them, but you know, I always try.
You do get a lot of messages, but that's
I always try.
The territory.
So thanks. Get better, Nintendo.
Yeah. Thought you loved us. I love you.
My heart's broken.